I'd like to open this portion up. If there are questions from the legislators, questions from the public, we have the people here, I think, in the room that can answer questions for us, and if not, gather that information to get an answer to you. So with that, would the legislature have any questions or would like to say anything? Mr. Mills?
Yeah, Doug, it seemed like that slide you showed regarding the food waste is a significant component of this. Do you have an idea where that waste could come from? And perhaps is that these processing plants that could be located on the IDA site, could that produce some food waste and recycle that back through the system?
Very good question.
Is that kind of what you're thinking?
The assumption that we used for Spruce Haven Farm was using food waste from a Lay's potato chip factory. They had that quantity and quality of waste available, so we used that as a prototype for our calculations. But there are a number of manufacturing plants around the state that produce food that have a regular stream of food that comes off the back end that's consistent quality. So there's many sources of that. Quasar Energy in Ohio has built one at Worcester, and what they found is once they get set up and start receiving those kind of waste, food waste, there's an ample supply. And they have existing contracts in Ohio that they can fill at least 2 and possibly more digesters in Cayuga County. So I failed to mention Chris Henry's over here. He and I grew up together. He owns Adhan Piping, and he's put in over 500 miles of gas pipeline in his career, so he is the one that I've relied on for estimates on the pipeline cost, and we can share those with you if you like. So if you have any questions on pipe cost or installation, he's here to answer those questions.
Mrs. Aikman?
I'd like to thank the early adopters, the 4 farms that have put anaerobic biodigesters on farm already, and wondering if you have any stories or could tell the story about why they did it. Has it met their expectations? Is it providing more biogas than anticipated so that there is this extra? Were there problems generating electricity with this gas? Just some more of the, little bit more of the nitty-gritty story behind these first 4 stories of early adopters.
I'm delighted you're interested. Connie or John, would you mind standing up and giving your view? And my cousin Dirk is over here. He's had lots of experiences in Onondaga County as well.
Yeah, Connie Patterson Farms. Basically, we went from 100 cows in 1990 to 1,000 cows in 2000, I guess I would say. And what happened is when you start adding lots of cows, you get odor. And I found the odor particularly offensive since it was coming from my house, and also my house was downwind from my own lagoon. That was it. And so I was on a mission to try to do something with that. The first thing I did was work with soil and water, and we put in a lagoon to store it and a separator. And when we heated the solids, and then you could smell, the smell was gone. So well, if you do that to the solid part of the manure, why not to the liquid, which led me into digesters. And basically, I went with a complete mixed digester because I wanted to be able to add food waste. And there was another farm in New York that had done some of that. And we were just lucky enough to have it work. And it's done what we wanted. I think we spread a lot of manure on hay ground right next to the hall, and it is not that it doesn't stink, it's just not as offensive. And we can put it on hay ground during the growing season. Take 4 cuttings off and put it on after each one. So that's something that's helped. I believe that we need to do something to help make the energy worth something, so this is a good thing if they can pay us for it, because it's not an economically, in other words, it doesn't pay for itself. You can't finance these out of milk. You have to have another revenue stream. For us, it's tipping fees. What you say?
I guess I'd like to add that I'm John, Connie's son. I operate the digester. my driving force behind putting our manure system in, not putting them in, using 20-year-old technology when we put the first lagoon in, was environmentally based. You know, I wanted to try to do what I think is. When I did that, I got more calls for the environment and neighbors about spreading manure on during the summer and on hay ground. And you know, Paulie was the town supervisor at that time, and he was calling me wondering why. Explain to me why you're putting this out here, because everybody's calling me complaining about where the IDA is. We were spreading manure on that, and the people at the Bass Pro Shop were calling about it, and we can spread up there on the IDA site now without getting calls or on Paulie's house. As far as the economics of the electricity, I first put in one generator, and that took the place of my electric bill that I had on the farm, and that was, you know, like giving me 13 cents a kilowatt for every kilowatt we produce, because we're not paying that anymore. Now that we put a second one in, I don't have that 13 cents to offset, because the second one's pretty much all for resale. But this 3 cents a kilowatt that we're going to be paid for doesn't pay to run the thing. Without the grant from NYSERDA for the first 3 years to run it, I couldn't afford to do it. And we've been flaring extra gas because we do take in food waste. We ran about 25% food waste for the first 5 years, or 4 years, and that was generating enough energy to run, put it in kilowatts is the only way I know how to say it, but my 1,000 cow dairy can put 180 kilowatts out an hour. With 25% food waste, I could put out on a yearly basis close to 500 kilowatts an hour. So the numbers that Doug's talking about are real. We proved it, and you know, we can take in more substrates than the 20% and increase the energy potential exponentially.
Thank you.
Mr. Axton.
I guess Doug maybe could answer this. Is there any worry that the food source that is so important to this could run out? If this proves to be a positive model and one that other areas wish to adopt, are we looking at the possibility that a food source could be difficult to be found? And would that food source turn into a commodity of its own and a bidding war ensue?
Excellent question. I may have Kurt from Cornell add to what I say, but in Denmark, those markets evolved over time. High-quality substrates were high in energy. Sometimes you had to pay for those. And lower energy substrates, you continued to receive tipping fees. The DEC told me at a meeting about 3 years ago that in a few years they would no longer allow any organic waste to go into landfills. So if that is to occur, there'll be a lot more organic waste that need to have an alternative use, and digestion is probably the optimum use of organic waste in terms of efficiency of converting to usable energy.
In looking for food waste for our digester, Butte County doesn't have any large processing facilities, which is any milk processing facilities or any food or potato chip plants or anything large enough. So there's a great, and trucking is the biggest thing that we ran into. So if we could get something located in Cuba County that could provide some of this, that would be a great synergy for the product.
Roger, if you mind. Okay.
Thank you. Well, the county is a cost discover, and so will the county be liable for the gases that are need to be disposed of?
I think these are some of the questions as we move forward with the feasibility study that we are looking to get answers for. We talked about the legal aspect of this, so moving this forward, we're hoping with through Dave Botown Regional Planning with the funding for that we get this feasibility started as soon as possible so we can answer those type of questions.
I imagine we're going to have to jump through regulation, federal regulation hoops. And who will own the carbon credits? Will the county, or will it keep marketing? And if so, if the county does, will the dividends be sent back to the general public?
As proposed, we would look at the farm and the county as one project where all the revenues would be shared and the returns would be equalized back out. So it depends on what the recommendation is from the technical report of the best structure, but the concept is we look at the whole picture and then share the benefits equally.
Will the county also loan guarantee or collateralize your loan guarantees from USDA?
Our attempt is to get USDA, Rural Development, to do that, and they've said they have a program that would allow that to happen.
So they'll collateralize your loan for you? What if there's catastrophic failure financially, with your cows, with crops? Does the project fall? What's the guarantee to the public that this stream of revenue will continue? And if you sell your farms, will the future owners sign the contracts with the county once this is put in place?
The first answer to the first question is there is no guarantees in life. There's risks and returns, and we have to evaluate the risks and returns and make our best judgment and proceed.
What if you sell your farm?
Well, hopefully there's someone that buys it, I would hope.
Are you going to bring Bion Technologies into this project eventually?
We've had some discussions with them, but not thinking of them at this point.
But they're out there, right? They're out there.
Yes, that's a company that we've considered their technology.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, I had Mr. Mills, but I did want two more hands up.
I did have one more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll just go to referendum in November.
Fred, no.
It's too early in the process at this point.
Thank you. They were all good questions and concerns. Thank you. Paul Lattimore.
Do you have an estimate on the cost of the study that you want to do? I know David brought his 30,000. Would it be better? Is it reasonably higher than that?
You want to answer that, Steve or Frank?
We are currently working with the scope of services that we are passing around to different experts so that we can really tailor it to the work that needs to be done, the questions that need to be answered. That's part of what tonight is about. We're going to be working with some engineers. We've already had discussions with them to try to give us cost estimates, and then there are other, obviously, beyond engineers, technical, legal. So I don't have a number for you, Mr. Lattimore, but we're working on that diligently right now.
I have three questions for Mr. Howe. Hi, Mr. Howe, Shannon McClure. I was at the presentation that you did in Syracuse in March on the alternative energy. So the three questions I have for you. At that presentation, you mentioned that there was a strong possibility that the Industrial Development Agency was going to have to float bonds to borrow money to pay for this project. Is that still on the table? That's my first question.
Well, I don't know. That, too, would be in this technical analysis. That is looking at the financing options. We just had a conversation with about 15 senior staff in USDA Washington last week and discussed 4 programs in particular, grant opportunities, and as Doug mentioned, they're very strongly behind this project. There's a REAP program, and there's 3 other ones that are of strong interest to us. And I do think it's quite probable that through loan guarantees, various grant opportunities, our hope is that that's the way that it would be funded. That depends on the hard work of the planning department and the support of the legislature and politicians throughout the United States and New York State. But we would hope to do it as cost effectively as we can. And again, that's one of the critical things of the technical analysis we look at.